Welcome to episode 480 of the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. And I'm your host, Denise. And as we cycle through the summer here in the Northern Hemisphere, I want to talk about systems and how having systems in your business is pivotal to everything that you do. Now, my experience of recruiters, they have some very good systems set up for how they manage candidates, the candidate process, all of the things. However, when it comes to marketing and connecting their marketing with BD, sometimes the systems are a little bit lacking. And I know at this time of year, sometimes people want to get ahead of the pack, get ready for the end of the year, which often for many people is busier. So today, our topic is systems, why they can trip people up, some of the things you might want to be thinking about, and some of the things you can put in place. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. An obsessive focus on marketing and sales is the only way to accelerate your company growth. So listen in now as we share the latest strategies and techniques guaranteed to deliver you more placements and profits. Well, hi there everyone, this is Denise. Hope you and yours are well. And today we're talking about systems and the beauty of systems. And as I talked about earlier, many recruiters are very good at having specific systems in how they work with a candidate, how they place a candidate, and how they engage in that whole process. However, when it comes to sales and marketing, particularly marketing, the main focus for today is marketing, they're not as good. Now, based on our last conversation that we had in the podcast last week, we're talking about what's going on in the market. We know that well over 20% of people are planning to quit their jobs this year in 2025. That's nearly 1 in 4 people actively planning to leave. Now, if you're thinking, that's great, more candidates for me to place, you just have to hold on a second here, because the kicker is, while all these people are planning to quit, approaching 90%, I think the actual figure is 80% of companies are still experiencing skills gaps in specific areas. And there's a reason for that. So we've got more people moving, but they're not necessarily the right people for the roles that need filling. And if you're like most recruitment business owners I speak to, you're caught in the middle of this chaos, fighting for both clients and candidates in this increasingly competitive market. So let me paint a picture for you. Names are changed, of course, but these are clients and these are people that we talk to in the market, some people that we're not working with. And this is a scenario that happens all the time. So let me tell you about, let's just call her Sarah, seeing as we're talking about systems. So Sarah, been running her company for 8 years, great saleswoman, no problem about getting on the tools, good reputation, solid relationships. But yet every month she feels like it's Groundhog Day. She's starting from scratch. So 1 month she's got more clients than she can handle. The next, she's scrambling to find work for a team. She's on the tools, sourcing, trying to help everybody. And then suddenly everything goes quiet. And there she is with no pipeline. Sound familiar? And talking to Sarah, this always sort of breaks my heart. People like her who are great recruiters. And I know because the conversation I had, it feels like she's running on the classic hamster wheel, working 70 hours a week, constantly stressed about where the next placement's coming from. And she feels like she cannot get ahead of the curve. And obviously there's a clue here, because she's sporadic in everything that she does and she has no system in place to actually leverage how good she is. Now, question for you, does this resonate with you? I'm sensing it probably does, because if you've ever felt like the business is running you rather than you running the business, then obviously this is an episode for you. So I'm going to talk through why businesses fail at marketing around the system process, how simple systems can transform your business. And then, most importantly, where do you start, even if you've never built a marketing system before? So let's do a bit of a problem deep dive here. I'm going to cover a few areas just to really highlight the brutal truth about why a lot of business owners struggle in the recruitment sector. We know, we've all listened to Greg Savage, that recruitment's very sales-led, not marketing-led, and that's been an issue for most people. But what I want to do here is be quite direct, and for some of you, probably remind you about what's going wrong here, because I do hate seeing good people burning themselves out when there's no need to. So, first problem, and I highlighted this with Sarah, is people end up getting stuck in reactive mode because business owners who are working in the recruitment sector and in other companies as well are very much like firefighters. They're on it fast. And someone calls, they've got an urgent role, you drop everything, get terms signed, you start searching, or a candidate walks through the door, or a candidate you've known for a while rings you up and they've lost the job, and you start scrambling around trying to find them something. You're always responding to what's happening right now instead of creating what should happen next. I'm going to say that again. You are in the process of responding to what's happening right now rather than creating what you want to happen. And it's a fault that all of us, I'm holding my hands up, have fallen into. And it's something that you do need to handle if you want to improve your chances of growth and being even more successful. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. Sunday night, you're lying in bed, you're thinking about the week ahead, Monday morning, where the placement's going to come from this week. Oh, I need to follow up X, I need to follow up Y. I wonder which clients have got new roles this week. John told me something might be happening. So did Andrew, so did Angela. Whether the candidates you've been chasing will finally return your call and stop ghosting. Your stomach's in knots. We all have it because your business success depends on things completely outside of your control because you have no systems in place. Now, the second problem is relationships and building those relationships and not having a systematic approach. Think about this. In recruitment, relationships are everything. I'd even say in every business, relationships are everything, but especially in recruitment when you have the candidate scenario and you have the client scenario. Yet it's quite sad to see that some companies in our space treat relationship building as something to do sometimes. They do it more of a hobby or I've ticked the box rather than a honed business process because your network, and I know this sounds cheesy, really is your net worth, particularly as a recruiter. Because here's the thing, you can't just call candidates randomly when you've got a job. You can't just expect to ring them up and expect to have a really good relationships with them, just ringing them when you need them. They smell it a mile off. Or the fact that you only reach out to clients when you want to sell them something. Again, clients really know that. But what do successful companies do? What do successful search companies do? Staffing companies? They have systems that nurture relationships constantly. The candidates hear from them regularly. They've got valuable insights. It's not just job opportunities. And their clients are receiving market intelligence, industry trends. It's not just a CV or a resume when roles come up. Because, of course, the thing is, when you do that, it's very much a stop-start process. And people, they know when they're being used. Much better to do it a different way. Now, we have a great client. Let's just call him Simon. And he was telling me that last year, before he started working with us, before he'd actually put a marketing system in place, their average fee was around about 15%. I know some people might say in the current market, well, that's not bad, but it was around 15%. So after 18 months of consistently working with us, doing content marketing, client nurturing, the average fee is now 22% in a difficult market. And they rarely get a pushback on pricing. And why is that? It's because they become the obvious choice, not just another option. And this approach of just doing it when you need to, when you're desperate, just really reverberates throughout the business. Now, last year, we worked with a company and they were doing about 500K in annual revenue. So, really good business, right? But when we looked at the numbers, it was alarming that they were also losing nearly half that in potential revenue every year because they had no predictable pipeline. It was Groundhog Day all the time. So, something else that was happening, they go a few weeks without placement, panic, drop the fees, try and close something quickly, spend the next month working for margins so thin, they barely cover the costs. Meanwhile, best candidates being snapped up. So the financial cost there to them was excessive because at the time they had no systems in place. They got a couple of key clients, but they hadn't been, which were great. But if those key clients were just pulling back on their recruitment, which many have, then there were huge gaps appearing. And because they'd relied on these individuals, they hadn't built a pipeline with other people. And we all know pipelines take a bit of time to build, particularly in the current market. And they hadn't started. So they were in that situation that they didn't want to be in. And of course, the real cost, obviously there's a cost to the business, but the real cost is to you personally, because at the end of the day, you're working 70-hour weeks, you're missing family events, you're missing dinners, you cancel a holiday or a vacation because you're trapped in a reactive cycle. And it's interesting, it's like you're starting from the start each time rather than you've got a system in place and giving the system that time to build. So like we have some clients now and they've got their they've got their campaigns going out all the time. They've got their social media going out on all the platforms, down all of the channels of their team. And in a market where LinkedIn is dominant for many professional service recruiters, they are in front of their market. They have got their systems dialed in. And many other people don't have that and they wonder why they're struggling. So I've shared quite a lot there, but just in summary, let's just think about it. The things that are going on here is you're reactive instead of proactive. Relationship building is random instead of systematic. You're competing on price instead of value, and you're possibly manually doing a lot of things that if you had a system in place, you could do 10 times faster. And here's the good news, of course, is that every single one of these problems that I've talked about has got a solution. And that solution is to create a system around it. Now, obviously, I talked about Sarah, but let me tell you about David. So David's a client of ours from a few years ago, exactly where Sarah is now, inconsistent pipeline, working all the hours God sends and never quite sure where the next client was going to come from and then how he was going to fill it. But, today his business has grown by nearly 180%. He has managed to pull back his working day pull back his working week to 4 days a week. And he can predict the revenue in advance. We did encourage him to get a spreadsheet and do a cash flow forecast, and that's made a difference too. And because he's got systems in place, things are very different for him. So what exactly do I mean by system? So a system is simply a repeatable process that produces predictable results. Really straightforward. It's a system that, in theory, anyone in the business can implement. So you create a system and people follow that systematic process. And actually next week, I'm going to talk to you about creating SOPs, which will make things so much easier, which is a standard operating procedure. So interestingly, today, I've been working with one of our team called Logan, who is going to help me with the podcasting. I record all the podcasting and he does some of the different editing, creating the images, making sure it goes out on social media, make sure it goes out on the blog. And we have a whole systematic process around that I was going through this morning, teaching Logan how to do that. And that's creating the system. I was just showing him the system that he can then follow. And Logan is a great administrator for us. He's not a marketeer, but he is following the system through for us. Systems are all about doing the right thing at the right time consistently. And when it comes to marketing your recruitment company, systems will solve so many of your problems that we've just been talking about. Speaking of the challenges that we discuss on this podcast around attracting the clients that you want and the candidates to fill the roles that you get, it's a competitive market. And Sharon and I have taken some time away from the business to actually put together something that will help you figure out exactly where you stand with your marketing right now. Now, we've created a quick assessment specifically for recruitment search and staffing business owners just like you, and it's designed to help you identify whether you're effectively attracting both clients and candidates with your current marketing approach or if there are some gaps that you need to address. Now, this quiz will just take a few minutes and it'll give you a picture of where your marketing is working and where it might be falling short. Because to be honest, in a market where 87% of companies are struggling with skills gaps and candidates are ghosting left, right, and centre, your marketing really does need to be spot on. And when you've taken this assessment, we will email you your personalised PDF. So it's personalised to you and it's related to the scores that you achieve and where you fit in a ranking. And what we know works when people are low on one score or high on another. And I think you'll find that incredibly useful too. So if you want to know and find out about your marketing, how it stacks up, then go to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/scorecard. And that will take you to a page, put your name and email address in there, and then you'll go straight into the quiz. And again, it only takes a few minutes. Trust me, it's worth the time, especially if you feel like you're not achieving the results that you want currently with the market the way that it is, and you really want to assess where you are so you can make some changes. So let's get back to that podcast. Let me just share a few ideas with you. So first of all, let's talk about client acquisition systems. So let me talk about the different parts of your client acquisition system. I'm going to give you some real sort of marketing headlines here. Obviously, as you are out in front of your market, you need to engage with them. You need to send them a message. You need to pick up the phone. You need to send them a voice note. You need to send them a video. But here's how it works. So first of all, content marketing helps you stand out. And only this week, one of our clients on a call, one of our newer clients, has really just started. He's a super guy, really productive. He has shared a lot of the content that we've provided for him. It's been going out in front of his clients. And then suddenly he noticed one of them had posted a job. And even though he was on a holiday, he sent a note to this guy and said, "Hey, notice you posted this job. I wonder if I could have a crack at it." And the guy said, "Yeah, okay." And so you can see the difference that this particular client of ours got on somebody's radar because they were using content. Because these content systems position you as the expert in your sector, your niche, when you consistently share insights about what's happening in the market, say salary benchmarks, hiring challenges, talent strategies, something powerful happens. Clients start seeing you as a strategic partner, not just a supplier. And I know that is so important for many of you. So I'm going to say that again. Clients start seeing you as a strategic partner, not just a supplier. Email systems. Let's talk about email systems, particularly nurture systems. Talked about it so many times before. Buyer cycle. We don't all convert straight away. Sometimes we need to build awareness with our clients and candidates as they go through this buyer cycle. And email nurture systems really work well here. So it keeps you top of mind with prospects who probably aren't ready to hire yet. Most clients only need recruitment help occasionally. Unfortunately, depending on the size of the organization, when they do need it, who do you think they call? You, who is the recruiter that's been sending them valuable insights every month, and or the one they haven't heard from since their last placement. Who do you think they actually reach out to? We have one of our clients, Karen, sent me something through a few weeks ago where she shared that one of her clients had said, I really like this content you're sharing. Karen, I find it really useful. She would just jump on a call. I want to talk to you about a couple of roles that are coming up. So it's doing that makes the difference. Now let's talk about social media. In fact, we were talking about social media today on our Superfast Circle call. And remember, LinkedIn approaching nearly 1 billion people on the platform by the end of this year. Less than 3 to 4% of people post regularly. So if you want an easy peasy way to get in front of your market, then sharing content in your own social media system will be amazing because it amplifies your expertise across the platform where your clients spend time. LinkedIn isn't just about candidate sourcing. It's the most powerful client acquisition tool in recruitment, only if you use it systematically. Because I talked about a client of ours just recently, just joined, sharing content, and then he started reaching out. So, it's that process. You're sharing content, and then you're getting into people's direct messages. People are sending messages to you. I've seen your content. Only last week, we had somebody that jumped on a call with us, and he's been listening to the podcast for several months. He's watched the videos on LinkedIn of us, and he's connected with us. This can be happening for you too. And here's what a lot of recruiters do wrong on LinkedIn. They only post when they remember to. They share a lot of other people's content rather than creating some of their own, and they only reach out to people when they want something. So very easy to switch that around, change it. So systematic LinkedIn use looks different. You post valuable content on a schedule, and even LinkedIn make that easy. Obviously, there's scheduling tools out there, but LinkedIn has its own scheduling tool. You engage meaningfully with people. You start to engage with your clients' posts. You share original insights, shows your market knowledge, and you start to build relationships before you need them. And let's just talk a bit about candidate pipeline systems, because it's all about having the best candidates. Many people talk to us about, if I had 5 Amandas, I could place them 10 times over. It's just getting them. And the best companies have candidates calling them, not the other way around. They built this, I like to call it the candidate magnet system. And that is the system that attracts talent continuously. Because let's talk a little bit about employer branding. I know you guys will be talking to your companies about they need to have a good employer brand. And I think there's a post that I posted quite a few months ago now that it's important for you to have a good employer brand as well, because you can showcase why candidates should work with you. This isn't just about having a nice website. It's about consistently demonstrating that you understand what's going on for a candidate. You understand the highs and lows. You understand, their career goals. You've got access to great opportunities, and that you genuinely care about their success rather than just ringing them up if they tick a couple of boxes that fit a particular role you're trying to recruit for. In fact, one of our clients started doing the sort of day in the life type posts Short videos features a candidate that's successfully placed. Just a quick iPhone video showing new people about to go into the role. And these actually created more candidate applications. And you can do it. You can even do it with an image in Canva. Lots of things that you can do. Now, also, it's important, we talked about email nurturing, it's important to have candidate nurturing systems as well. So you can have the two set up. Most platforms now, most of the recruitment CRM platforms will enable you to send out automated email campaigns to candidates. And honestly, it's gold for you if you do this. When we have a conversation with people about working with us, or even clients that come on, and clients that come on board, I should say, many of them already have a candidate database. So they've got probably so much untapped potential they don't really appreciate. However, they're not keeping that passive talent pool engaged until the right opportunity comes along. And that's where they're missing out. So most good candidates are actively looking for jobs, but they will move for the right opportunity presented at the right time. And here's another kicker: by someone they trust. And you will build up that trust because emails are landing in their inbox. Only the other day I was looking at something and I said to Shannon, oh, where's that such and such a body that we used to use to do whatever? And should I still get emails from them? And so looked in her email system. There was an email that had popped in literally a couple of weeks ago. Bang, we got the phone number and there was some business for that individual. So you can see that it's the same. The fact that you are in somebody's inbox and you're helping them and you're providing them with useful content makes such a difference. Because the great thing is you can systemize all this. And by the way, we provide all of these systems for our lovely Superfast Circle clients. But, it's a systematic candidate nurturing approach, means regular touch points that add value, market updates, career advice, top tips, industry insight. You're not constantly trying to place them. You're helping them succeed wherever they are, which builds trust for when they're ready to move. So automated systems ensure, if you've got an automated candidate experience system, that's going to ensure every interaction feels personal, it feels professional. From the moment somebody applies for a role to the first day in a new job, systems are ensuring that nothing falls through the cracks. Now, this matters a lot more than you think, especially when you think about some of the data that I was sharing earlier. Over 60% of professional services are seeing high turnover. People are leaving. And if you've got those candidates in your database, they're probably going to come to you when they want the next role, especially if they've had a chaotic process and the last time that they moved companies. But of course, now they're on your database and they're working with you, it's going to be very different. Here's the great thing about systems that I love. They reduce your stress level. As business owners, small business owners, that's the people that listen to this podcast, then it's very easy to get stressed when things aren't happening, or you realize you've dropped yet another ball because you haven't got something in place or you haven't thought about something, whatever that might be. And systems can change all this for you when you have a documented process for whatever your system is: content creation, client nurturing, candidate management. We have a whole spreadsheets, we've got flow charts and diagrams that people use. So when you have all these systems in place, then it doesn't have to be you that implements everything. We've got a great client at the moment, and she's in the legal sector, and she's just got a couple of new employees, one of whom is helping her with the marketing. And it's been great for her because the systems are in place. I've seen the stress leave her body because she's got somebody that she's given the system to, and this person is doing the paint by numbers, that they're following the system. And you can see what a difference that can make. You've got a documented process, and you can have this obviously for everything. And you become the conductor of the orchestra, not the person having to play the instrument. Nothing wrong in playing an instrument, but however, much better for you to do those high value activities, which is about conducting what's going on. So we've been talking about why systems are important, and I'm conscious that we're up to nearly half an hour with this podcast. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to create next week's podcast. I'm just going to delay the SOPs because that can come afterwards. I'm going to share a little bit more about one of the clients that we mentioned earlier. And I'm going to share a few ideas around your starting point and frameworks that you can use, because I think that will be really useful, because I know many of you, and we do have a conversation about this a lot, about creating those systems. So today we've talked about why systems are important, some of the things to be considering about why things maybe aren't working for you in the way that they could. And next week, I'm going to start to talk about actually getting some of these systems in place. So this is Denise saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy this podcast and this year you are ready to take your marketing to the next level, then check out Superfast Circle. This is a unique marketing program designed specifically for recruiters and their marketeers. You get access to 2 virtual marketing directors, you get consultancy, you get your hand held through the whole process, training, consulting, and we provide content resources. So go over to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/join and check out what's available.